Welcome to the V-Twin Visionary Motorcycles and Mayhem podcast, powered by Rockford Fosgate.
Ready. Whoa.
Hey, it's Jeff G. Holt, V-Twin Visionary podcast. One of my good friends, Frankie Garcia here. This is completely unrehearsed. We didn't talk about one thing we're going to talk about the whole time. So,
I don't know. Is this a serial podcast? I don't know what's happening right now. Jeff lost his beard, and I showed up to Tennessee to see if he was all right.
Thanks. Big ass tour bus showed up. I was like, oh, guess we have company. Yeah, so I mean, man, we've known each other for a while.
Long time.
A long time. Man, and we started off in different circles, and now we ended up, it was kind of funny because I always heard your name, with all the racer guys I knew and all the people from the race magazines and the sport bike magazines. And then it was kind of like, oh, Frankie's coming in and da-da-da. And then, I mean, we were introduced a ton of times by a bunch of different people because we're always out at, Anaheim Supercross or some bike launch or race or biker, some sort of bikery.
A lot of paths were crossed.
Yes, a lot of paths were crossed.
But ultimately, V-Twins brought us together for the greater good.
And that, V-Twin motorcycles for sure. I remember a time that you worked at Suzuki.
Yep.
And they gave us a bike, but I guess with Suzuki that means they loaned you a bike.
Yeah.
They don't ever give you anything. And I proceeded, this is when I was there, a street chopper, I proceeded to chop the holy shit out of this motorcycle.
Yeah, when you said chopper.
It was a chopper magazine.
You put the chop in chopper for sure.
And I think I got you fired from that job.
Somebody wasn't happy with me. Somebody was not happy with me, but you know what?
Yeah.
We got to do everything we can to make cool bikes.
We made cool choppers. That was an awesome chopper. I mean, we did the cover of it, and it had like a super hot Asian stripper girl on the cover with that bike, and I don't think they liked that either.
How could anybody have gotten mad at us?
Yeah, Suzuki. Meh.
Oh, they're doing good now. Yeah. They just won a Supercross championship. Got to give them credit. Ken Roxon, the old Kickstar Kenny.
I love Ken Roxon.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
He's a G.
The best of the best, man. Yeah, People's champ.
Agreed.
It's really cool. It's back when I worked at Suzuki, Kenny rode for Suzuki, and it all kind of happened simultaneously. Me working there, him riding for Ricky and Carrie.
Yeah.
And shout out Carrie Hart, V-Twin guy. But it all came full circle, and he got back on the bike, and they made like three minor updates to the bike, and still good.
Yeah,
still good.
Things like that.
I still have one. There's one in my trailer right outside.
That's so
RMT 450, right in the back.
I love that.
So full circle, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, like you just started off this kid from Gonzales, California. A lot of people don't know your lineage and race history. I mean, just kind of let that rip, the relationship you have with your father and his racing, and then compounding into your racing, and you guys, privateering the hell out of everything, and just no matter what it was, road racing, flat track, anything with wheels you were on.
Yeah, I mean, really, like my dad was a pro-am flat track racer, growing up. Coming from a little small town in Gonzales, I mean, he's been there, born, raised, never left, and still owns a house he grew up in there.
That's so cool.
It's wild, yeah. But my grandpa worked a lot. My grandpa was just your average, Mexican, just worked his ass off. That's all. Just worked, know. And the legend is that my grandpa came over here he was born in 1915, and I don't know. They used to tell me they came over here in a covered wagon from Mexico, but I don't. the timeline isn't really adding up to, but maybe I don't. Yeah,
Maybe a covered pickup truck.
yeah. So, but yeah, so my grandma, my dad was a late. He was a little. I don't think he's ever said this like this, but my dad was a late accident. I think his brothers are all much older than him.
Oh, okay.
They're like two of them have passed away, and there's one left. And then there's my dad, who's still he's 67 years old and still racing full time.
It's so crazy.
Racing in the running of the bulls. But yeah, my grandma took my dad to all the races, and they'd load up. They got his first bike from Sears, and they would load it up in the back of her car, and they'd go to the races, and she'd drop him off, and he'd ride all day, and she'd come back and get him, and then he grew up and you know uh, got into flat track and was a pro-am flat track racer, and the junior novice expert days, and District 36,
Right.
and he raced with some of the greats, which is cool, and then I met my mom, and next thing you know, here I am,
There's
and
Frankie.
they're buying a house, and it's my dad's always both my parents have been really good, like financially, like, hey, we're if it doesn't make sense, we're not spending it. So
Right.
they were smart,
Spend thrifty.
yeah, exactly. So when it came down to it, it was the house and their child, and my dad still raced, but not like he did. It wasn't an every weekend traveling around the country anymore.
Right.
And I came along, and they got me a PW50 for my first birthday, and it was all, I guess, I don't know if it was uphill or downhill from there, but it was something, maybe both, but yeah. And then we just grew up as a family, going to the races. My brother and my sister even raced for a little bit.
So
My brother was on it, and raced every weekend with me, and that's what we did. We just went to the races as a family, going to Lodi, racing flat track every weekend. And my dad still raced. He had a wood road tax, and he raced that thing, and and he would take us to the races, and then he would race to try and recoup some of the money it
yeah,
cost.
try to make that money.
Yeah, try to make the money back so he could, pay for the weekend. And I didn't know that till like later. Like when I was young, I was like, just dad's racing. This is cool.
This is so awesome. We all race as a family.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make $1,000 over it.
Yeah, I'm trying to pay for the fuel and the tires for the weekend. So I didn't know that till I was older. I was like, he told me, he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to make money. So I was like, damn, I didn't think about that. I thought you were just cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, he is. And
Oh yeah.
you
it's
know,
super cool.
and
It's
but yeah,
legend.
oh yeah. But yeah, we did that, and then I got into, I wanted a road race. I remember watching a MotoGP race on TV. I was really young, and I remember just seeing like Europe. We're not familiar with that if it wasn't on TV. Yeah, and then I just remember seeing like all the fans,
Oh yeah.
and in my mind I went, those guys must be pretty cool because
Because
there's a lot of people there watching.
150,000 people there.
Yeah. So I wanted a road race after that. And, I was still young, and I didn't know what road racing was other than what I
Right.
saw. And, I think it was just on TV. I remember it. Like, I remember when I watched this race on TV, and like nobody explained it to me. It was
Right.
just a motorcycle race. They were racing street bikes. But yeah, so as I got older, I wanted to do that. We made a transition from flat track racing
Mhm.
into supermoto, which is good to learn the asphalt and understand it, and
Definitely.
tires and grip, and it was a cool transition phase. It wasn't that long ago, but we don't have ovales and mini road racing
Right.
like there is today. We didn't have it back then, so
No.
supermoto was the transition. And then you know we didn't spend too much time in supermoto because I was 13 years old and my dad got me a G6 R600, and
Oh, it was over.
it was, yeah. I mean, once you go road racing, it's so damn expensive. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
We did a little bit. There was probably like 2 years where we did where we're doing Wira West
Mhm.
and AFM, and then racing some Don Canet Supermoto series on 85 still, and 250s. And then when I turned 16, we were so, like, we spent so much time in supermoto, and like we grew so much. So that's where I started to kind of shine, I guess I would say. And it was like, okay, we got something here. I can go fast. And in 2007 I turned 16. Um, I had a Honda deal, and with CHM Honda, and then Pro Honda Oils and Chemicals. and I had a deal to race. I was locked into road racing. Like
Right. That
that's
was
where
your
my heart
deal.
was.
Right.
And then they had wanted me to race on the CHM Honda team. And so the deal was that I had to race all the Supermoto, AMA Supermotos that year that didn't align with Weir Road races.
Right.
So I'd go race Weir Road races, and if they weren't,
Did you ever go to school?
yeah. What do you mean? Yeah.
You're like
I
doing
went,
all these racing at 16 years old. Like,
ah, I was homeschooled from 8th grade all the way through high school.
that's why you're like you are. No, sorry. Keep going.
No, I was homeschooled, so we were good there. And at the same time, I was going to community college a little bit. And my mom and dad were always pretty gnarly about like, if racing doesn't work out, we got to have a backup
Yeah.
plan. And so I was like, well, if I can't race, I want to be a journalist. So I went to school and I was just taking classes here and there to learn the things that I needed to learn, learn how to write, English classes and literature classes and things like that. So I was doing that community college while I was homeschooled, while I was racing. Like, so it was it didn't seem like a grind because I was, when you're young, like
You just
you just
do
do
it.
stuff.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah, you're
okay,
like,
this
"Oh,
is
okay,
the
we'll just keep
task.
going now. If we had to do that
Yeah.
again, you're like,
Oh, I
when
had
do I sleep?
Yeah.
I'm hungover. I didn't even drink.
Right. Boom.
But yeah, we did that 2007, and then 2008 I just road raced full time AFM.
Yeah.
First year as an expert, and I remember I got smoked with my first expert race. It was at Button Willow. I was on a CBR 600,
Mhm.
and I mean I got 18th. I just got smoked, and there was a big learning curve that year. I went from getting 18th, 15th the first round of that year to winning races by the end of the
Oh,
year and
wow.
on the podium pretty consistently by the end of the year. We were on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Honda supported us with some parts, and we had things like that, and Pirelli and VP at the time, and
That's big. Having
just
tires
having
and
a tire
fuel.
sponsor. Yeah, Chris McGuire and Corey Newer and those guys over there. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without them, but yeah, I did that, and then that was the year the economy fucking went south.
Yeah.
So it kind of hosed a lot of us. My dad actually brought it up the other day. He goes, "Man, there were a lot of there's a lot of fast kids in your era that kind of got shafted because when the economy fell off,
Oh, yeah.
everyone pulled. I mean, the manufacturers pulled contingency.
Oh, it was everything.
They pulled support outside of like the core,
Mhm.
hardcore motocross stuff, and any like flat track road race, anything extracurricular outside of what they
The
were.
mains. Yeah.
Yeah, it was gone. And then that same year, coincidentally, was when DMG took over all of road racing, and so with that, there was a Dunlop tire rule, Sunoco
Oh,
fuel.
God.
So I went from having a Pirelli deal and a VP deal, and
Having no deal.
to having we can't do anything. It was the year I was supposed to transition to go race professionally, and there was nothing there. I mean, you couldn't afford it, no support. You got no tire deal anymore because it's a spec tire, and
That's horrible.
it was just a mess of a situation. So, but at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. A lot of us got shafted, but that's just the
That's
world. We
racing.
can't control. Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
control the world, and so I went down to Southern California and I got a job as a journalist at Motorcycle USA and
Yep.
worked with Adam Wahid and
That's where I met you.
yep, Justin Dawes and
Two of my favorite dudes on the
oh
scene.
yeah. So I went and worked with those guys, and I was a journalist there, and we were having the time of our lives. I mean, me and Adam, I mean, some of those are some of the best days. I mean, we were just running amok, just swiping the company credit card on at the gas station so we can just ride more.
Right.
We just needed more fuel. Like
love
we
it.
could survive off of fuel. We'll figure out how to feed ourselves. But
Burritos and fuel.
yeah, we just need fuel for so we can keep riding, and we tested bikes and
Oh, I
went to
remember.
press launches, and I mean, yeah, you did the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
We were having a blast, and then I think 2014 is when I went over to Suzuki. I worked there in the PR department and learned a lot. The Japanese culture. That's why I really learned the Japanese culture. Is people that know me know how much like respect I have for the Japanese culture and their work ethic. And I really learned a lot there, down to the point where my last year I raced baggers, I had a Japanese mechanic, and I was so proud of that,
That's so cool.
Kento.
Yep.
I was so proud of that because I love the Japanese and their culture so much that, and I had this dude from Japan who's like one of the baddest bike builders that I know. Yeah, and man, that was so cool. But yeah, did that, worked at Suzuki, and then we went and I worked for the Castillo family. We created the AC system, which is, for people that don't know, is the that black magnetic band you see some of these supercross and road race and NASCAR guys and wearing.
A ton of people wear them.
Oh yeah, now it's called intake, and
Yeah.
so we developed that and had it on a bunch of racers, won a bunch of championships with it. We pushed that really hard, and then and then motorcycle racing just fell back into my lap. There's this guy, Roland Sands,
Oh, that guy.
started this super hooligan flat track series,
Yep.
and at the time, I was working in the motocross supercross industry. I mean, there were 5, 6, 7 years that I was at every supercross
Oh, yeah.
outdoor and everything in between, monster cups and Red Bull straight rhythms and
Every
you
single
name it.
damn
Oh yeah,
motorcycle thing.
yeah, and then all of a sudden we're super hooligan racing, and Ducati asked me if I wanted to build a bike, and I said yeah, that'd be cool, and it was just I was just supposed to build
Sure.
this thing. I
Right.
wasn't planning on racing it. It was just kind of a concept thing, and
Yeah.
I got it done, and there was the Moto Beach Classic. I think that was 2017, and they were just, yeah, let's go race it. Oh, sure, fine. That'll be fun.
That was such a fun event, man.
The first one.
The first one was crazy.
Yeah, we just showed up. And
I stayed in that shitbag motel right
Oh,
there.
yeah,
dude.
just Huntington
Oh,
Beach.
bro.
But yeah, I mean, we went to that, and I was like, got this bike, and like my mom come down, and it was like a big deal because I hadn't raced in so long.
Right.
It was like I'd done a couple like one-off road races. I'd raced the Daytona 200 in 2012 and did some Chuck Wallace stuff throughout the time, but I wasn't racing like and so for us to come out of the woodworks, I don't know how long it'd been since I raced flat track, and
Right. Just everything.
yeah, we built this bike, and me and my dad went and tested like one day, and we just showed up, and
It's so crazy, though.
we had a good time. It was this little tiny short track, blue
Yeah.
groove, and the groove was about a foot wide, and it was just about momentum and corner speed and just getting around that thing, fast but clean, and ended up. I don't remember if I won my heat, but I didn't win the dash. I won the BMW drag race challenge that day.
I failed that miserably.
It came down to me and Kevin Duke.
Yep.
Me and Kevin, another journalist. Me and
Another
Kevin Duke, and something happened, and there was like a discrepancy in who they didn't know who won when me and him crossed the line the first time, so they reran it, and it was close. Like I honestly thought he won, and then they're like, "Oh, we couldn't tell," so we reran it again, and I won the second time. But yeah,
I
no,
love that.
but just craziest day ever. And we go in the main event, Super Hooligan Main, and I'm like, I don't remember if I was sitting on pole or what, but I think I was.
I think you were as well.
And we got down into it, and there was like I was in like second or third, and a couple guys got squirrely, and I just kind of squared it up, and I passed. I think Mikey Virus or Mikey Virus was behind me. Someone got squirrely. Mikey Virus and Joe Kopp, Joe and Andy DeBrino were battling for the championship, and dude, it was just a crazy day, and I remember both Joe and Andy were like, oh, they were trying to get me to kind of get in between and like get in the mix, and then as soon as like there was an opportunity for me to win it, I was like, screw all of you guys, and yeah, and I won the thing, and and it was cool, like. Never in my life, because of getting shafted, there was never a big race that like I got to take my dad on a victory lap. And
Right.
that was like, when I go back to that, like that's the only thing that mattered from that day was being able to take Pops on a victory lap.
That's pretty dope.
And I got this photo of him, and we're going through like turn 4 coming back up to the finish line, and he's just hanging off the back of my bike, biggest smile on his face, flag in the air, and I'm just like, yep, that was.
It's on the beach.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You know,
this is
it's
the most
like,
unreal. Like you
yeah.
can't make this up.
No.
So did that, and then I was like, then I was hooked. I was like locked into super hooligan racing.
Yeah, I mean, you did it all. after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we were doing that, and we just kept, I chased that championship for like 2 or 3 years, and then that's when I really like we were doing a bunch of V-Twin events, and that's when I really like got hard in the V-Twin world. I was still on a Ducati, so I was on a twin, but I was an Italian one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Still.
So we
Yeah.
and so we chased that. I went to Sturgis,
Mhm.
and like we were
I started
doing
seeing you way more, which was super cool.
yeah, and X Games, and we were doing big. So my dad started racing. My dad and I both qualified for X Games one year,
That's so
along with
cool. I remember that.
yeah, Tyler and Randy Behrman. So that was rad. So it was like the battle of the fathers and sons.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Brad Spencer and Bradley Spencer. It was father and son time. It was rad. And so we did that one year, and then I lost the Ducati deal. They went a different direction. They started working with Jordan Graham, and I was like, it was always for fun. Like it was always fun. I could make
Yeah.
enough money to survive and go race and pay my bills and then. But once it was like, I never fought for it. It was just if it works, it works.
Right.
And but like when that happened, they wanted to do something with Jordan. I was like, I'll just go get a job. And so I got a job. My dad's always worked at a power plant. He's been there for 20 something years. Same company. And I was like, you know what? My entire life, I've never heard my dad complain about his job or be bummed about his job. I was like, maybe it's time.
Right.
So, I applied and I got in. I actually worked in his old office at a different plant that he currently works at. Same company, different plant, but I was in his old office and it was just like, here we go. This is the next phase of my life. And Roland Sands comes calling again. And I go, oh, here we go.
Oh, Rolando.
And he goes, hey, I know you weren't planning on racing, but with Jordan going to the Ducati and the Scrambler, and I know you don't have anything going on. You want to race my bike? You want to race the Indian?
You're like, wait.
And
what?
I was like, oh, I thought I was done. And he it kind of like he didn't have to. I don't want to say he had to talk me into it, but I was kind of like, man, like I was so devoted to like my new life that I didn't know.
That's
like,
crazy, dude.
I didn't know what, and he was like, look, I'll fly into the races. And you can fly back and you can just work your job and it'll be all good. I got to put somebody on this bike. And I was like, all right, no problem. And we did, it was a big bike. I went from going from this tiny little Scrambler to this massive FTR 1200.
Yep.
And we went up to Portland, Oregon for the first round of 2020 series. And we did that round and I got fourth there. I beat Jordan. Jordan got fifth. And like, the funny part was like me and Jordan were like beefing,
right?
Because like he was on my old bike and like there was just some like tension, and then there was like some Instagram posts and we were like beefing, and it's funny because like dude, I love Jordan, so I look back and I'm like, what were we doing? Like we're friends, dude.
Well, competition, you throw that word in the middle.
Yeah, and we were like beefing, and then I beat him. I looked back and I like gave him like a thumbs up because I was just psyched that I beat him. He was on the Scrambler,
right?
And I was on literally the bike he rode the previous year, and I gave him a thumbs up, and I think he took it as like a F you. I got you on your own bike, and so we like beefed a little bit, and there were some words, and it's funny now I look back at it, but like it's so we did that, and then. We went in round 2 was at Prim, Nevada, at the Mint 400.
Mm-hmm.
We went out there and it was an asphalt like quarter mile, and I was like, oh yeah, road race guy, let's go. And I rode so good all day.
That FTR too.
FTR hauled ass, and I remember me and Brewer was my mechanic, Cam Brewer, and him and I mean, we were in Vegas, so we were like partying and like we were racing, but it was super hooligans, man. You know how that program was. Everyone was everyone was having a time except for Andy DeBrino. He was like drinking muscle milks and
Well, those dudes are like
electrolytes.
that. There's always like one or two of those dudes,
He was taking
man.
it
They get
serious.
clowned.
He was taking it serious, but like Andy and I, like that's why I probably should mention that. Like Andy and I feel like we elevated Super Hooligans. Like it went from this
I can
like
agree with that.
garage Sportster, whatever, slap a thing together, let's go race
Yeah.
Costa Mesa style. And then here comes me and Andy as like the scrambler he had like this badass like XG,
Yep.
and then I brought the scrambler, and then he brought the KTM, and we were just constantly doing this
Yeah.
with it. And then like Jordan had a few good runs, and Roland was building cool stuff, bringing fast guys in, and yeah. So we go to this next round, and it was a good one, and I mean I don't remember. I think I got fourth or something like that. I ended up running over a cone and like getting past by two dudes at the end. Tony Al's Uncle Tony got me on that one, I think. And then we left there, and like that week it was like COVID.
Shut down everything.
Yeah, we shut her down. And so it was like, all right, well, we're not racing motorcycles, and so I just back to work, back to my original plan.
Right.
And, it was during COVID, I went and I was just living with my family. Like, what else were we gonna do?
No, hunker down.
Yeah, I was hunkered down with mom, dad, brother, and sister, and we were having ourselves a time. And come July that year, my brother was going through some stuff, and he ended up passing away, and that just spun us all out. And
how could it not?
Yeah, I mean,
what I mean, my ex-wife's family, we had a death like that of her brother, and when that, I got goosebumps right now, because when that you went through that, I felt that pain so deep, man. And it wasn't my own brother, but
you knew, like you've been around, like you knew like how close we are.
You
We
guys
all
were,
did everything
your whole
together.
family was just such a tight unit that was always just so happy and loving life,
Yeah, we just did everything together. We're just racing flat track and having fun. So yeah, that spun us out for a little bit, and like it was like I look back at it and like it's like I was blacked out. I couldn't even tell you what was going on. For a while.
The bandwidth you have, all the ancillary shit goes away, and you just go into that tunnel, man.
Yep. It's a bad tunnel.
And you're worried about how your parents are, you're worried about how your other family members are, that all the other family feels it too. Like it's just like a crater effect.
Just grieving, and you're just it doesn't seem real. It's the gnarliest feeling like ever. And so that was going on. I'm in a hole at this time. I'm like going to work, but I'm just like a zombie. I'm like, I'm just in this like repetitive, I just get up in the morning, I go to work, and nothing matters. I don't care.
Robot style.
Yeah, I just don't even care about life anymore. Everything sucks. I was in a hole, and I didn't know how I was gonna come out of that, or what I was gonna do, or if it was ever gonna get better.
Right.
And it was weird. Like no one ever wants to feel like that. I don't wish that on my worst enemy, but then here he comes again. You already know who calls. Roland Sands. and I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, hey, you want to race a bagger? And
so there's this thing.
Yeah. So he goes, there's this race at Laguna Seca, and they're gonna race baggers, and I'm like, yes, like I just need to do anything right now. Sign me up. And he's like, we're gonna road race baggers, and I'm like, all right. And like it happened really fast, and I remember Cam Brewer called me, and I was already riding. I had a deal with him. I was riding the Indian. I was a road racer. Right. Laguna Seca was my home track, so it all just kind of fit.
Yeah.
For that first race, and
it was a legendary event,
dude. It was the sickest. And I remember I still worked full time. I worked in Gilroy, and I missed the photo shoot day one because I was working, and I remember showing up to the track in coveralls, just like straight from work, but
with a pipe wrench.
Yeah. But he called, and he's like, "What is this bagger?" Yeah, cool. So he's like, "What should we do to the bike?" And at the time, it was just like a fun thing. It was like, and I'm like, I don't know, like, put some good tires on it, and find some good Dunlops, and put a loud stereo and a pipe on it. Like,
we're like, what else are you
and a sick paint job. And that's what I thought it was gonna be. And then,
well, it was only a one-time thing.
Yeah. So then, like, all of a sudden, I swear, like a week or two goes by, and Brewer's like, hey man, we got like we got this front end, and we got these triple clamps, and we got this aluminum tank, and
They're like, bro, did you steal it off a
yeah,
Panigale,
yeah,
dude? Like, what the hell?
everything's carbon, and we got this 17-inch wheels, and we're gonna run Dunlop, Q5s, and I was
So
like,
crazy.
and it got really serious, and like all of a sudden, I was just like, wait, so no stereo? And all of a sudden we had this bike, and they were like drilling holes in the frame to lighten it up,
Yeah.
and we had this 550-pound race bike, this race Indian Challenger.
Yeah, with that screaming motor too.
Dude, yeah, and they had this big 2-in-1 SNS pipe on it that was just louder than all. I mean, it felt like you were riding a big block Chevy
Oh man.
with headers on it, and we went and we showed up to Laguna Seca, and like I didn't know what to expect.
No,
there was
not at all. Nobody
Ben
did.
Bostrom,
Yeah.
Travis Wyman, Corey West, Josh Heron. Like,
I know.
dude, I hadn't been racing. I just was like, hey,
You're like, oh guys,
yeah,
hey.
I'll take my coveralls off and put my leathers on, and we couldn't even get leathers at the time. So I remember we sent my Ducati Scrambler leathers. We sent them into this guy in Orange County, and he dyed them all and put Indian logos on them and like made them black, and so
That's crazy.
I wore those, and then I remember like we're V-Twin, and I wore RSD vest over my leathers.
Yep, I remember
put
that.
the vest over like for the culture.
That was a super flex. Dude.
Yeah. And like didn't know what to expect. And they had all my logos put on the leathers, my name and my number. I ran the number 14. That was my brother's number, and I ran that because that was our first race back. The first race since he passed, and it was only like 3 months after he passed away, and the family's grieving still. And like we didn't know. There was one point leading up to that race where I was like, dude, I don't know if I should be on a motorcycle right now. I'm like not right in my mind right now. This is crazy, But we toughed it out and did it, and I mean, it turned out to be the best thing for me and my family. We did that race, and
it was so much fun, and it was such a small, cool thing. And then Moto America found out that 57 million people watched the YouTube video.
Yeah,
and then bagger racing was no longer this one shot deal anymore.
No,
and then
for real.
It was, and that it's grown into what it is today. But like, it was so crazy to see that happened that day, and then it just blew up all over the internet.
Yeah,
and then from you stopped working at the factory and became a professional rider again.
Yep.
I mean, take me through the beginnings of that, like,
dude. So like, I don't know, like that first race, didn't know what to expect. Go out like, oh, you're second qualifying against all the Tyler O'Hara and Hayden Gillum, and maybe we're onto something here. I mean, we brought a weapon.
Yeah.
And then the next one, it was the same thing. It was like, I ended up qualifying second, and
so crazy.
And then after the second qualifying, there was still a little bit of time left. That's when they're like, hey, why don't you go practice the start for the race? That's when I looped the bike
that was
out.
That was the biggest thing ever. You looping that bike.
Yeah, looped the thing out. They gave us this clutch. It was a slipper clutch. It was like a prototype, and Tyler O'Hara had tested it. And then we had like got it secondhand. I was the second guy to get it, and the ramp on it was like really steep. So when you like let the lever out, it was like 1 millimeter was like it was nothing and everything. There was no like in between.
There was no slipper.
No, nothing, not at all. And so I like went and tried that out, and like threw the thing over backwards, snapped the bars on my femurs, and like couldn't walk, and like went home. I didn't think I was gonna be able to ride, and those guys thrashed all night, got the bike back together.
I couldn't believe it either. Being there and seeing that whole thing, I was like, first of all, I thought you were really, really hurt.
I thought my femurs were broken.
Yeah,
like
it was no joke.
No, I'd never felt pain like that in my life, and I guess what it is like a film that goes over your muscle, and Holt keeps all the blood in, and I ripped that on both of them and let all the blood out, and that's where all the pain is. It was like it was like somebody lit my femurs on fire from the inside. It was gnarly, but yeah, I went home, and I remember we got the surgeon. I called my surgeon. I was like, "What do I do, dude? I got to try and make this race, And the whole thing was like, if it were any other day, I wouldn't have done it. But it was like I was racing for Jess. I was racing for my brother. Like, we're running the 14, and we were home. Like I had to do it. Like any other situation,
I would have slept in bed that Sunday morning and just
Not
not
worry
gone.
about
Like
it.
I was,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, I gotta do this. Like I gotta do this for me. I gotta do this for my brother. I gotta do it for my family. And I woke up that next morning and I had an alarm set that night. Every hour, boom, every hour on the hour, alarm went off, and I would eat for an hour, ice for an hour, eat for an hour on both steamers,
Word.
and all night long. And I woke up the next morning, and I like took a shower, and I went downstairs, and it's still COVID time, and mom and dad are on the couch, and they're like in their pajamas, dad's drinking coffee, and I come down fully dressed, and they're like, you're gonna ride? And I was like, Doug Chandler texted me, and he was like the guy that oversaw the communications through
Yep.
the riders and all that. And he goes, all right, the medical staff says if you can do one squat, they'll let you race. And I was
Crazy.
like, there's no way. But if I do one, I can't do another. If I have one in me, it's only one. So I didn't practice. I didn't try. I
Right.
drove myself. Dad helped me get in my truck, and he's like, "Shoot, I'll take a shower and I'll meet you out there. Well, me and Mama, we're on the way." And so I get out there, and I literally had to drive my truck up to the pit. Crew had to like get me out.
Hmm.
Fully needed help putting my leathers on. Like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't walk. And these guys like they're like, all right, like they take me to the medical center. All right, let's see if you can do one squat. And I like bit my tongue and bent down and like did one. And they're like, all right, like we'll see how the warm up session goes. And unfortunately, we had the warm up session was our very first session of the day, Sunday morning,
Then you had
and we had
yeah.
all day, and we were the last race of the day. And so I was just, once I was sore, I was like,
Yeah.
so we went and rode warm up, and once the adrenaline kicked in, it was like,
Everything's
okay, yeah,
fine,
we can do this, we'll be fine. Come back, and we just iced all day, ice, heat, and we do the race, and I got the whole shot, so I
Uh-huh.
redeemed myself from
From the loop.
loop out Larry, and we did that, and we ran second. Tyler passed me, and then he was going fast that weekend. And then so it was like me and Hayden Gillum were kind of battling, and uh, Tyler ended up winning the thing, and he ran off the track, passed us back. He was just being a psychopath that day, just
He was
bad
wanted to
dude,
win, dude.
bad
Yeah,
dude,
he's a
yeah.
bad man.
And Hayden got by me, and I kind of fell into place, and just I said a podium for my brother is
Yeah.
at my home track. And being that, like, I've never raced Laguna Seca. I never raced a pro race at Laguna Seca.
It's so weird because it's your home track.
Home
You've
track.
done a million track days there.
Yeah.
And
Never raced there, so it was like, man, home track, get a win for the family, or get on the podium for the family. Like,
Yeah.
we need this. Like, I need to be happy about something right now.
Right.
And, we did it, and I cried on the podium. I cried in the press conference. And that was the talk of the whole weekend.
Oh, I
It was like,
remember.
it was just, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like, oh, Frankie's racing a bagger. It was like, Frankie's brother just died. What are you doing
What are you
here?
here?
Yeah.
You're
And-
like two-wheel therapy.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, and it's just one of those weird things, like, Roland, that dude called. My phone rang, and his name was on the screen in the times that I needed the most. And I think I've tried to tell him this a couple times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you don't understand like what you've done. Like the times that like I was like not stoked, or or just things I was
Things
doing.
weren't going right.
Yeah, or just things weren't going the way I wish they were going. Like
Right.
Roland Sands just was there. I don't think he meant to be there on purpose, but he just was.
It's
and
the
I
universe, man.
Yeah, I just so grateful for that guy, man. He's been
Yeah.
like the big brother I never asked
Me
for.
too, man. I love that guy so
Yeah.
much, man.
And so yeah, we did that, and that's what kicked off bagger racing. And I raced for Indian. I got another podium at Road Atlanta. Another battle with Hayden. Hayden passed me on the last lap the next year. We had a 3-round series,
Yep.
and we went to Road Atlanta, and the second bagger race we ever did. And Hayden passed me on the last lap. I missed a shift, but on the warm up lap, I had gone down the back straight behind him, and he was riding that Batwing Street
I
Cloud.
remember
And the
that.
bubble behind that thing in the draft was massive.
30 air.
Oh yeah. And I remember like getting behind him on like just ironically on the warm up lap and going, oh my god, if I have to draft him, we're not gonna have an issue at all. And he passed me right before the double rights before the back straight at Road Atlanta. I missed a shift and I go, oh, dude, it's over. Like I wasn't even worried about it. And we come out of that double right, go down the back straight, and I just in that bubble just wah, and I knew once if I can get into that corner, Hayden's good on the brakes. And I knew if I can just get into that corner and leave that corner ahead of him, I was gonna be on the
Golden.
box. And we did it. And like, again, like a guy like that, look at him now. I mean, he's riding that dude's got potential to win or podium a superbike race. He's
Yeah,
a
I
stock
know.
thousand champion.
It's
and
so cool.
so that was a big deal to me. I know Hayden probably wasn't pumped to have my untraining fucking, ass out there beating
On the
him,
taco
but
truck.
yeah, just a taco truck, a carbon Clydesdale. Us, we were just drinking beers, the night before.
Yeah, we were.
having a
all
good
the
old time. Yeah, having a good old time, and he was
Crushing cans in the pits.
yeah. And but I'll take that one. Thanks for that, Hayden. I'll take that to the grave with me. It's a special moment. But
Love
yes, then we did that, and then that was kind of the end of my podiums. After that, because then the big dogs started coming. Kyle Wyman.
Yeah, then the whole dynamic changed.
It changed.
And then
It went from dudes like that were like V-Twin guys that were doing track days, building bikes in their garage, and having like S&S and like Kyle on the Harley to then you had Dark Horse and Michael
Mad
Barnes.
Monkey and
Then these guys started coming in hot, and then there were teams, and then there were 2 Indian teams, and then there were 2 Harley teams, and now Vance and Hines is in it hard.
And Saddleman came in super
and
hard.
then Saddleman came in, and then so I did 3 years with Roland on the Indians, and then that came to an end.
Yeah.
And Bobby Fong was my teammate. Him and I grew up racing together, hanging out and being buddies all of our lives, and then I got to be his teammate, which was really special to me. I spent a year under the same truck as him.
Yeah.
And then
he was crushing it that year.
he was going fast. I learned a lot from him, and there's a couple of us that can speak Bobby Fong, and so I was able to calm him down and help the team with that a little bit. And, so that was fun. And then the Indian thing came to an end, and they wanted to go a different direction with funds and this and that. And
that's racing yet again.
Yeah, I remember that last race in New Jersey in 2022, we had some struggles with some engines and I knew the Indian deal was over. The writing was on the wall and there was no more engines, and I didn't race. I was fully capable.
I remember that.
Oh, you were there. I didn't have a bike to ride, and I was in your truck, just
sitting in my truck, crushing cans,
crushing beers and cocktails, and just well, if we aren't racing, I got to watch from the sideline. I'm gonna do it miserably.
You were not having fun that weekend.
No, and so I remember that Sunday, the last Moto America round, I went and sat in Terry Vance's semi truck with Eric Maurice from Harley at the time. He's now at the bike shed. But Eric Maurice sat in there. I said, dude, I don't think I have an Indian deal for next year. Is there any opportunity? And they kind of just told me like, hey, look, we'll support you. If you can plug into a team that wants to operate, we'll support it.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah. So I went to, I poked around a little bit, kind of, I kind of had a gold mine at my fingertips. Harley was ready, and
you could puppet master it if all the pieces fit.
Yeah. And so I didn't know, I at first I wanted to go to this guy, I wanted to go to that guy, and then I called Heath Pinter. Heath Pinter was working at Saddleman. He hadn't been there too long yet.
No.
And I called Heath and I said, Heath, I got this opportunity. Like, what do you think? And he goes, I think you need to come talk to Chris and Dave. And I knew Chris and Dave, but not well.
Two really awesome guys.
Yeah.
Father, son. They run Saddleman, own Saddleman. Awesome people.
Yeah. Just love motorcyclists. And just the biggest supporters of our industry. It's awesome. And so I went in and I sat with Heath and Chris and Dave, and I said, hey, I got this opportunity with Harley. Like, if you guys can operate, maybe we can do something. There were a few conversations had, and all of a sudden, just a couple months later, there were road glides and engines and swing
It
arms,
was
and
crazy.
it was gnarly. I mean, just parts and bikes, and there was a 4-rider team.
Yeah.
It was
Come out of the box with a 4-rider team. It's
yeah,
insane.
you know, semi truck, and
Yeah.
you know, it was me, Corey West, Patricia, and Jake Lewis, and then we had the Dark Horse guys come in, and you know, it was just wild, lot going on,
There
and
was a lot of moving parts
a
that
lot
first
of
year.
quick, and you know, we did that deal, and I raced a Harley-Davidson for a year, and it was kind of a weird year. You know, I know that they were, you know, Corey and Patricia were their guys,
Yeah.
and then as far as Saddleman goes, and then Dark Horse brought in Jake Lewis, and I was like kind of the redheaded stepchild, and I kind of like don't feel like I got the, you know, for bringing the whole deal in,
Right.
like didn't get the support that I was. You know, I knew I wasn't the most talented guy. You know, Corey West and Jake Lewis are bad dudes.
That's the one thing about competition is a lot of people get stepped on and, you know, shoved to the back of the bus when there's faster guys on the team.
Yeah,
And as we all know, that's weekend by weekend by weekend now.
yeah, oh yeah.
And you shouldn't
Dog eat
run your
dog out
team
there.
that way, but it's the sake of competition.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
with the staff and the amount of money it costs, it was like we can only do what we can do. And I understand that, but I just struggled. You know, I didn't feel like, you know, I was getting, you know, everything I needed to, you know, as far as like a crew chief and
Right.
you know, all that stuff. And I was doing a lot of stuff on my own. I was kind of making the calls on adjusting my bike the way I wanted it alone, or the way I wanted to do it on my own. And,
Right.
you know, reading my own data by myself, and I was struggling to even get that. And it was a weird year, but like it was a cool year because I did so much on the other side of it.
That's what was cool. Like you ended up doing so much stuff
with Harley.
with Harley.
Yes.
And I mean, just your personality and who you are. And I thought it was a great deal because so many people on the other side of the Harley fence, you know who you are, you know,
Yeah.
normal motorcycle people.
Mhm.
And then now you're a beloved looping your motorcycle bagger racer, you know, but you're the everyman guy, you know, and you're not the skinniest guy, you're not, you don't freaking train, you know, you don't do all that. Although you were training,
I
don't get me
was.
wrong,
I was.
but not to the level of those guys, you know, and all that
I was
stuff.
still eating tacos.
Still eating tacos like you should, still keeping it real,
Yeah.
still drinking 805 beer.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that to me was like what bagger racing was about at that time.
I was trying to. I always wanted to keep it core. Like that was the mo. Like I always remained loyal to like what I always wanted bagger racing to stay. You know,
Right.
I wanted it to be the same guys that were going to the rallies, and I was trying to do that. But I'm like, hey guys, like I'm you, but I race too. But like I'm still doing the same stuff we do at the rallies. At the races, I'm staying up late. We're drinking beers, and you know we're having a good time, and you know saying fuck, and you know just partying, and but like then in the morning I just get serious and I go race, and like I always try to stay that guy, and like luckily you know there were brands out there that saw that. Motul, Harley saw that, and they like and I was like, dude, I rode from a couple bagger races or a couple races to rallies. Like I rode from Brainerd the one year to Sturgis by myself. You know, I was just doing it. I was there. I was doing all the Born Frees that, 2023. I built my road glide with Harley, and, I built a bike, and, I built a full show bike, and, just did bagger stuff. And I was just trying to remain the bagger guy. And I thought that like if I maintained that value, that like I would always be needed. Like, and Terry Vance was a big guy on that. He was always like, we need you. He's like, you keep it real. And Terry always told me that. And I was like, well, Terry recognizes it. Like everyone
recognizes real.
And so I was trying to maintain that. And I was like 7th place guy, 8th place guy. I'd get a 6th every now and then. And, I always thought like, okay, we're mid-pack guy, but if we maintain this value, as a face of the people, the face of the consumer, and being one with the community, like we're good. And, at the end of 2023, and we weren't good, and we didn't have a ride after that, and but luckily, the folks at Harley-Davidson still supported me and saw my value, and Taylor over there and
Yeah.
Eric and Miranda and they all saw my value, and I was doing Harley-Davidson garage YouTube stuff out of the studio in Irvine, which was right down the road from where I was living at the time. I did a bike build series with them, and then they brought me on and kept me busy hosting social media at the bagger races,
Yes.
all
So,
through
all that stuff was so great.
24 and 25, which was cool. So I still got to be a part of it, and part of what I, like to take a tiny bit of credit in helping start so I still I felt value there, and I've always be grateful for that because as we know as racers, when you lose a ride and like you don't know, it's like it's hard to go tell somebody like, "Oh, I don't have a ride anymore, so I need a job." Like, "Well, what have you been doing the last 3 years? You haven't worked." Like,
Going around in circles.
yeah. So Harley kept me going, which is super awesome.
Yeah, and you were really good in front of the camera, like unreal. Like I
Thank
think
you.
like we've discussed doing stuff
Oh yeah,
further from here.
I enjoy it.
And I think you're really good at it. You're super comfortable. The real you shows through when you do it, even
Yep.
though you're, of course, a talking head selling something or suggesting selling things. But the real you comes through. It's
I'm me.
not. That's what I love about it. You're you. You're always going to be you.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all we ever should do, just ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that really worked out well with Harley for sure. It
Yeah.
was a believable thing, and at that time, you're everywhere. You're 120th, and just doing all the Harley cool stuff. And I always love that because that's my playpen, as you know, and
Uh-huh.
and to anytime I
love
get Frankie Garcia around me, man, is like the best time of my
The
life.
good times, man.
Yeah, they're the good times. You and I have just
The best times.
so
man. We
much
got
fun, dude. No matter what, we could
Yep.
be. I mean, how many times we've been under an easy up in the rain, and everybody else would be just bumming, and we're having the best time.
Oh, the greatest time.
Yeah,
Oh, you bummed you can't race? Well, we're not bummed because we're drinking beers.
Yeah, we're just having fun drinking beers, talking
Oh
shit.
man,
Like,
Daytona, the bagger races. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. We're just sitting under an easy up, man. It's easy up time with Jeff Holt.
Yeah,
It's a
for
good,
sure,
It's a
man.
good time, but yeah, I mean, it was a good run we had, and then we did that with Harley, and I did all the homecoming stuff, which was awesome.
Oh man,
That was a huge
you
opportunity
and I
for
built
me.
hamburgers.
We built hamburgers
I
with
almost
Maddie
killed Maddie
Matheson.
Matheson.
Yep, that was cool.
Sorry,
and,
buddy.
and it was there were some fun times had, and the whole homecoming thing, being able to host that on social media with Jesse was
Yep.
that was awesome, and Andre.
Yeah,
And
it
we
was-
had a blast. So yeah, that was cool. And then things change, and programs change, and budgets change, and
CEOs change.
CEOs change. But we had a good run, and now come 2026, I made another leap, and I'm now at AMA Pro Racing.
Yes.
Overlooking most importantly right now the American Flat Track Series.
Yes.
Still keeping it in the V-Twin community,
Keeping it real.
keeping it in that, and this is something that's very near and dear to my heart is that racing series,
Yeah.
American Flat Track. That's where I come from. That's where the Garcia family racing legacy will stem from, is flat track racing. A lot of my closest friends, the Baumans, Chad Coes, guys I grew up with, they still race in the series, and I feel like through all the years of being in the motorcycle industry, and having all the connections and resources that I do, that it was time for me to make that jump and go be a part of something that I am not only passionate about, but feel like I have a lot of input to help grow it
Yes.
and do
And
better for
I
it.
think that sport doesn't get the recognition it should with a lot of people in the motorcycle industry and outside. It's the gnarliest bar banging dirt track. I mean, it's such a cool event, and it's the history of this event goes back pretty much to the beginning of motorcycles.
America's original extreme sport.
Yeah.
It's like baseball,
And
you
it's
know,
sketchy.
two wheels.
It's
Yeah,
sketchy, dude.
you get on dirt with, I mean, almost just about you Class C traction, a
Yeah.
street tire, and go 130 miles an hour and slide
This
it into
far
a
away
corner,
from everybody
banging off
bars.
other dudes. You
Yeah,
know,
it's so crazy.
it's
man.
gnarly, man. And yeah,
The
again,
YouTube videos, man. Just get on YouTube and
I mean, I always tell
watch that
everyone,
stuff,
you know,
man.
if you think that these guys are just going around in circles, just come to one race and
No.
just watch how insane this is.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
It is insane.
So yeah, so I'm over there now. Gene Crouch. I mean, obviously it's you know, it's the France family and Gene Crouch and you know, are the big dogs over there, and they brought me in. They saw my value, which is, you know, it means a lot to me knowing that those guys see value in me when, you know, there's a lot of people that maybe don't necessarily do, because I was just, they see me as the motorcycle racer and not the business guy. So
Yeah, that's unfortunate because you've got a great business mind as well. So
yeah, so I mean, I'm over there. It's really cool. I've had a lot of input coming into 2026. I helped bring in the new Pro Sport 450 class, which we run. It's a kind of a stepping stone for from amateurs to pros,
yeah.
and we run a qualifying race the day before. Corey Texter comes in and runs an amateur race on Fridays before our events, and he runs a road to AFT class, and the top 12 out of that class qualify into Pro Sport 450 on the pro day the next day. So you get to stay one more night.
That's so cool.
You know, and you get to race in front of the big show with all of the amenities. You know, the air fence and the lights and our flaggers and our starters.
Everything.
And
It's the real show.
you're in, and it's good because like last year when Cage Tadman did his first race at Ventura, he came in. I mean, obviously he won the damn thing. But I remember he came up to me right before opening ceremonies, and he was like, "Hey, how does the light work again?" And I'm like, "Dude, you just qualified on full. You don't know how the light's gonna work."
Better.
So this is kind of the stepping stone to eliminate that
Right.
and get these kids ready. And we've already seen one kid race in this Pro Sport 450 class. He qualified for two of them, won one of them, and made the transition into the singles class. And showed a lot of promise, and
I love that.
was in the top 10 his first race, and it's already working. There's already some of the pro teams supporting these kids year one. I mean, right off the
That's
bat.
the way it should be.
Yes.
You know, you're maintaining your future.
Yes.
And you're grooming your future to be fast and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's just easier to have bigger classes and more people and more educated consumers and riders and everything. You know, like do it right the first time.
Yep. And we made the class. You know, I worked with David Rath and Kevin Crowther and Gene Crouch on the rules, and we made it a very, very easy class to be involved in. A lot of OEM parts and not a lot of modifications. So we made it really easy. Affordability, availability.
Yeah.
That's something that Dan Faith and Kawasaki has drilled into our heads, is like affordability and availability.
Yeah, that's
you know,
awesome.
if you got that recipe, you know, it should be full steam ahead.
Go,
so yeah, we're doing that, and you know, there's a long road ahead of American Flat Track, and a lot of big things coming, and a lot of management changes that are for the better. That you know, just the team over there and upper management is serious about growing this and giving the riders, the community, the industry, everything we need to have all the success and have a Flat Track be a part of American motorcycle racing for years and years to come.
It needs to be.
Yes,
you know, it's the one that started it all. It's the history.
Yeah,
you know, and it's so damn exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's it's fun to watch. I mean, you know, now that I'm a part of it, you know, not that I always paid attention and watch every race, but you know, now I'm in it. Now, you know, every race is like, you know, it's like Christmas morning every day. We're going to the races. Who's gonna win this one? So it's cool. The race has been great. Cool. We got more classes now. Our classes have been stacked. I mean, there's so much cool stuff going on. We're bringing in new partners, and it's I mean, I can't get enough of it. So
I love that. Dude.
Yeah, man.
And then you had to move to Florida.
And then I moved to Florida. Yeah, that was part of the deal. Is you know, obviously DMG.
Central Cowboy moves to Daytona Beach.
Yep. So I bought a 40-foot diesel pusher and 24-foot deck over trailer, and I threw my bagger in the bed of my truck, my truck on the flatbed with some of my tools and machines and welders and my 450 dirt bike and
Yeah.
everything I could fit, and
Cross
drove
country.
52,000 pounds across the country at over length, overweight, and just went for it, and you know uh we're here, man. So we're in the mecca
Yeah.
of one of the biggest rallies of our generation.
Motorsport too,
Yeah, and
NASCAR.
motorsports, just down the road. I'm literally 1.5 miles from the speedway, and we're really lucky to have Frank Kelleher over there, who just takes really good care of us and looks out
Legendary place.
and looks out for our riders, and for the greater good of American Flat Track. And I mean the France family, and we have Jace France, grandson of Jim France, who works with us, and he's one of the most intelligent humans I've ever met in my entire life.
That's
And
awesome.
it's been a real pleasure and a privilege to work with a France, and to have somebody with that last name in the same office as us. And there's so many good guys in that office. Uh,
Dream team.
Dream team. Kevin Crowther and Dave McGrath, and just old school guys. I work with Chris Carr. Chris Carr's on the team now.
That's crazy.
My very first championship trophy on a PW50 I won. The trophy, or the class, was sponsored by Cars TV. So Chris's dad, who saw the trophy, it's still taller than me.
That's
I
so
mean, it's just
cool.
come full circle, man. So we're just.
I love that,
Yeah.
and being a racer, especially a lifelong racer like you, it's not an easy task. Like there's a lot of triumph, but a lot of heartache. So much time spent training, as you very well know. So much time spent, getting the bikes ready and all that stuff. And
Oh yeah.
I think that's why you went so hard when you're building all these Harleys now. Like
Yeah.
you do it as a passion, and that road glide's still one of my favorite builds. And
Thank you.
what do you think's next for you as far as building the custom Harley?
You know what? I've been talking about it for a while. I want to build one. I really want to build. I mean, that's what I enjoy now. It's tough for me. It takes a lot for me to go get on a motorcycle and go ride or go to the track, and it's just after doing it for so long, all the heartaches and ups and downs. It's like I just need some time, but I really do enjoy building bikes. I have like this crazy OCD and this vision, and I like expressing myself through what I can make and build. And I'm like a jack of all trades, but not even close to being a master at any. Like not even a little bit, but like I
Still.
figure
You
stuff
get them
out.
bikes together, and they always look good.
Yeah. So I built race bikes. I built my bagger, my road glide, and it's time to build another one.
Well,
So.
go knock on Teddy Morris's door down there
Yeah.
and see what he's got in the back room
So
for you.
somebody give me a bike to build. I will build it. I just need the bike.
Exactly.
So we'll throw some Saddleman parts at it, as we always do.
Hell
and,
yeah.
But yeah, man, we'll see what comes. Right now, my focus is on American Flat Track, and keeping that alive and healthy and well, and keep bringing in new sponsors and more media, and
Good.
just giving it our all.
What we share all the stuff we get. 'Cause we're
Mhm.
big fans of it as well. And, man, I can't thank you enough for coming to Tennessee.
Oh, dude, I
and
love being
hanging
here,
out
man.
on this short,
Hanging out with
sweet,
one of my best friends,
Yeah,
lifelong friends.
that's right. That's what we do.
Just pulled the bus in and called you on the way here, and I'm coming over. All right, see you in the morning.
The spot will be there.
Yep. So man,
Nah, man, you're one of the greatest people I know. One of the nicest people, most giving people. Like, no joke, and you always got a smile on your face, and you're always in the zone as far as when I needed people to talk to through my cancer shit, and you were always there, dude. And,
brothers, man.
I love you, dude.
Love you, man. Keep it going.
There you have it.